Send us your opinions and feedback anytime during the show. Simply text us at pound 1013 for 51 per message or chat with our team while you stream us live on the TBS EFM app or YouTube. Life Abroad, helping you navigate your life in Korea.
And now let's get a checkup on the news with reporter Angela Chung. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, Sunyan.
All right, well, we're going to begin with some COVID-19 related news. We've seen the number of new daily cases hover in the 500s for 3 consecutive days. So that's definitely on the brighter side and also raising hopes that we may maybe enjoy some relaxed social distancing measures. But considering the upcoming Lunar New Year, it doesn't seem like the government is planning to do that, really.
Yes, just yesterday, KDCA reported 524 cases added, but this might be too early to be optimistic yet. Epidemiologists pointed out the government should keep the current level to some extent for the current declining trend to continue. And as you mentioned, the Lunar New Year is coming up in less than a month from today. This year's Lunar New Year will be from February 11th until the 14th. And since there are still sufficient conditions for the virus to become active again, the health authorities said they may have to come up with some strict social distancing measures during the holidays.
Right. It's been so good to see the numbers in the 500s, I think, because we were used to seeing them in the 1000s, but still 500s is not that low. And it's still quite a lot compared to the first and second waves of the pandemic that we experienced here.
Right. So the current tightened measures will run through Sunday, and the government will decide on Saturday whether to ease some of these measures right now. And many are expecting this. They will ease restrictions on the so-called high-risk facilities, but it may have to keep the ban on gatherings of 5 or more people.
Right. So that means maybe indoor gyms and cafes will be allowed to reopen for in-house sort of customers and also for the gyms to actually reopen, but they will have to enforce stricter social distancing measures.
Right.
Now, apart from this decision that is coming out probably tomorrow, the government is going to announce a set of separate measures just for the Lunar New Year?
Yeah, just like the last year's Korean Thanksgiving special measures, the authorities will present some stricter social distancing measures that will be applied before, during, and after Lunar New Year, which will be for 9 days from February 6th until the 14th.
Right. This is a risky period, of course. A lot of people on the move, so another opportunity for another widespread outbreak. Let's move on, though. Earlier this week, we talked about the government's third wave of relief funds for small businesses. Now, today, I understand you have more details for freelancers?
Yes, yesterday, South Korea decided to offer 1 million won to freelancers whose income decreased amid coronavirus, but have not received the funds yet for the first or second round last year. So if you made more than 500,000 won without having the employment insurance last year, you're eligible to apply starting January 22nd. And also, if your income in 2019 was less than 50 million won and your last year's December or this year's January income decreased by more than 25%, you can apply for this round of relief funds. And if the application surpasses the government's budget, they will set priorities such as the annual income, decrease rate, and the amount decreased. And this will all be based on the documents registered under the National Tax Service. So make sure you submit all the required documents on time.
Right. We may have quite a few freelancers listening to our broadcast now. Some advice on when and where they can apply for this?
The application will be available online starting this 22nd until February 1st on covid19.ei.go.kr. Once again, it's covid19.ei.go.kr. And if you can't go online, you may visit the Work Plus Center with the required documents from this 28th until February 1st. And for more inquiries and guidelines, you can always call at 1899-9595. And once again, that's 1-899-9595.
Very good. Our last item is kind of related to what I opened with. The content industry, of course, has taken a big hit, and that's why the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism has decided to allocate a lot of the funds of this Korea Fund of Funds for the content industry. But the actual figures do show that sales in the content industry fell in the first half of 2020.
Yes, the Culture Ministry and the Korea Creative Content Agency reported that industry-wide sales reached 57.3 trillion won in the first 6 months of last year, slipping 1.9% from the year before.
Just a decrease of 1.9% is actually lower than I thought, but I guess there will be a disparity. Better sales in some areas and worse sales, of course, in areas, especially where in-person consumption is required, like the movie and advertising sectors.
Yeah, as much as we all miss going to a theater or concert hall, this was directly reflected and shown in the numbers. So the sales shrunk in the areas such as film and advertising sectors by 54% and 19% respectively, followed by the animation and music sectors by 10% and 9%.
Right. Hopefully we can see some of those performances and also releases coming back to normal standards this year. But what about the industries that allowed for untacked or contactless access, like online games and webtoons? I imagine they did pretty well.
Yes, so sales for games and cartoons actually jumped 11.9% and 10.1%. And most of all, knowledge and information services increased the most by 12.1%. And by knowledge and information, I mean internet portals, electronic lectures, and virtual reality services. And we can easily guess why. Because of the COVID-19, there's been more needs for these services than ever.
And what about some publication? I know that I was definitely reading a little bit more than I usually do. That's also content industry, right?
Right. So another interesting fact was for publications last year, there was more online sales than offline. And this was the first time this happened in Korea. But I'm guessing a lot of people were probably buying books online and ebooks to avoid the crowds in the bookstores by going there in person. And as for exports, although exports in general increased by 4.8%, slowing from 6.4% growth the previous year, exports per cartoons grew, surging 37%, and games jumped by 10% on year. And by amount, exports for games accounted for 72% of all exports.
All right. So this year, we can probably look forward to more of these games and webtoons doing well as well. But hopefully, we'll see a recovery in the other sectors.
Yes.
As always, thank you very much, Angela. Have a great weekend. I'll see you again on Monday.
Thank you.